Let's head straight to the phone lines off the back of this David Coote story that is absolutely, as you can imagine, dominating the back pages today. What should happen to him off the back of this video? Let's speak to Joe, the Liverpool fan. A very good morning, Joe. Thanks for calling.
Good morning, Ali. Morning.
Good morning, Joe.
Thanks for calling, Joe. Listen, I'm guessing you'll have an opinion on this video that's been released.
All right. I just happen to be a Liverpool fan, but he's got to go. Doesn't matter what league there is a referee in England. He cannot be managing any games. It's got nothing to do with just Liverpool. He just happens to be biased against Liverpool. There was, Howard Webb, who's unfortunately in charge of the PGMOL, was always accused of a Manchester bias. Remember Ryan Babel, etc. And now the man's in charge of the whole lot. You're right. People always have their biases towards in teams, but it won't just affect Liverpool. It'll affect relegation battles. It'll affect European places. It'll cost clubs a lot of money. And even Sunday just gone. He didn't wave play on when Salah got wiped out. It just happened to be a happy coincidence that somehow Núñez scored. Guys, got to go.
Where I agree with you, Joel, is this. Clearly, I don't think he can. I don't think he'll be able to referee again. Right, that's just my opinion. The top flight, but a few of the listeners are coming in and saying he shouldn't be allowed to referee a Liverpool game. But one of the boys, Max in London, for example, Joe, has said if he can't referee a Liverpool game, then he can't referee Man City, Arsenal, Everton, or anybody else for that matter.
Exactly. I agree totally. You can't referee full stop. And you don't inflict him on the Championship. There's nothing worse than when a referee makes a huge error in the Premier League and they say, he's been relegated to the Championship. It's not fair on them. Why have they got to put up with that nonsense? Suspend them properly.
Okay. Thanks, Joe. Thank you very much, Joe. Appreciate the call. We've got Rob. Rob's also a Liverpool fan. Good morning, Rob. What are you thinking?
Morning, gents. How are you doing?
We're doing well, mate. What are you thinking this morning? Thanks.
I don't necessarily disagree with the last caller. I don't think he's based himself in glory in any way, shape or form.
Yeah.
He's entitled to his opinion, right? He hasn't specified opinion about Liverpool. He specified an opinion about certain individuals. And everyone's entitled to that opinion. What I've got an issue with is the fact of the context and the tone of that conversation, and the fact the way he behaved was, he mentioned Klopp being arrogant. He was behaving in an arrogant way himself on that video. Mm-hmm. It's a poor judgment call to even allow him to be recorded in that way.
Yep.
And it just brings the whole referees thing into disrepute. Yeah. However, I don't think he should be hung out to dry. I think he's a young gentleman. He was even a younger gentleman when that's happened. We all make mistakes. If he's a good enough referee, he should be able to continue to referee. People and referees are entitled to their opinions. Yes, they shouldn't be refereeing teams that they have an affiliation towards. That's to protect themselves. But I don't think he should be hung out to dry on this one. However, it wouldn't surprise me if we never see him again.
No. Rob, do you think referees should have an opinion publicly after matches? For years, people have been saying, get the ref, let's find out why he made that decision, why he made that call. Do you think we should hear from these guys after a game on some of those big calls?
Yeah, I don't see a problem with it, but it's not about the person who's giving the opinion. It's about those individuals receiving the opinion, and are we educated enough as a society to be able to take those opinions and deal with them appropriately without the backlash coming back on those individuals? And that's the issue. I think we see it in rugby where the referees are mic'd up, and it actually adds value to the game.
It does.
And ultimately, I'd love to see something in football as well, but I don't know whether, as a footballing nation, we're grown up enough to be able to accept those opinions and those.
I've got to say, mate, very measured call.
Yes.
Really good call, mate. One of the worst refereeing decisions I've seen in 2 years, actually, while I'm at it, was in the Scotland-France rugby game, right, at Murrayfield.
Yeah.
Where Scotland should have been given a try, Rob. Now, that was just a mistake, in my opinion, by the referee, right? I'm over that, right, because he made a mistake like any of us could have made. That referee would have had an opinion on the game, an opinion on the players, but he just made a mistake. Mm-hmm. That happens, Rob.
Yeah, and I'm an ex-rugby player, and the whole piece about respect for referees and all those kind of bits and pieces that comes through from rugby is something that the footballing side of things, fraternity, have to take on board in certain aspects as well. But, I mean, that's a different conversation for a different day. But on this one, do I think he should be hung out to dry? No, I don't. Do I think he's made a massive mistake? Yes, I do. It's just, it's a poor judgment call.
Yeah. Good call, Rob. Thanks for your time, mate. Shaban's back with us this morning, Shaban.
And can I get a hell yeah for another international break?
Oh, yes.
There we go. That's the spirit. Lads, what the hell is going on though for Lee Carsley's squad? Yes, the Nations League break is well and truly upon us, and Lee Carsley's swan song as interim head coach for England is now turning into a bit of a nightmare. 8 players withdrawing due to injury: Declan Rice, Bukayo Saka, Phil Foden, Grealish, Cole Palmer, Levi Colwill, Trent Alexander-Arnold and Aaron Ramsdale. Now this is actually an important week for England.
They've got Ireland at home and...
No, they've got Ireland, yes, at Wembley, and then before that it's away to Athens to take on Greece. And of course that game they were beaten at Wembley 2-1 by Greece. So it's actually an important time for England because wins will see them get promoted to the top tier of the Nations League. But a tough time for Lee Carsley. But just quick thing to ask there, it's a lot of football, it's a lot of international breaks. Gareth Southgate at this time last season lost 7 players to injury, but the difference is that the players that Lee Carsley's lost are likely starters apart from Ramsdale.
Yes, I take all that on board, Shaban. Why on earth did Thomas Tuchel not come in and take the job, pick the reins up straight away and throw himself in at it? Who in their right mind said to him, Thomas, you can wait till the new year? My goodness. No,
I'm with you, mate.
I do not understand that at all.
Does that show the FA aren't taking this competition seriously?
No, I wouldn't necessarily say that, Shaban, but I just think Andy's spot on. If you're going to give somebody a job, give them it the next day and get on with it.
Give them it and get on with it.
Start this immediately.
And you might find that out of those 8, 4 of them might have turned up for the England squad next.
Good call.
Who wants to miss out when Tuchel's walking through the door first squad? You want to be a part of that. You want to make sure you're there. You might be limping in, might not be able to play, but you'll go.
But surely you want to play every game for England.
Of course you do. Well, yeah, I'm not casting aspersions here, Shaban, that they're ducking it, but they've made it easy for maybe a niggly ankle to become a bit more of a problem, and I'll swerve this one and I'll leave it. I think it's the FA's fault, personally.
Good way for Lee Carsley though to bow out if he can get 2 wins.
I want him to do well. It was an interesting one. I mean, I don't know Lee Carsley, but he looks and sounds a thoroughly decent fella.
Nice
he
man.
really.
Who, Lee?
Yeah,
Lee's absolutely solid as a rock. He's a smashing guy.
That's my point. But it was interesting, Andy, and I don't know whether you agree or not. Watching Lee and listening to Lee, I'm not sure he wanted it. Do you know what I mean?
Personally, and I've said before, I don't think he's quite ready for that.
Yeah,
the enormity of that role,
and maybe he realised that himself.
With it. Yeah.
Maybe he realised that in himself and the experience that he got.
Yeah.
But it'll be interesting to see how Tuchel gets on. But I'm with you, mate. If somebody gets it, give him the job.
Get in there and get on with it. Yeah.
And make sure he's in there as soon as possible, because there's few camps left really between now and the 2026 World Cup. But him, it seems like, is coming in for qualifying. You've got about 7 camps, I think, until the World Cup, which is crazy.
Yep.
Really to think. So it's a crucial time for Thomas Tuchel to try and be in there. And the fact that he's not even going to be there is another matter altogether. But in terms of the number of niggles, injuries, like say little ankle problems, is this an issue? Is it too much? Too many international breaks?
Well, listen, whether we like it or not, they're here to stay because you've got to fit them in somewhere. But Andy makes a good point, and it's factually correct. There'll be players that are out for long term, the players that will be out for maybe a week, 10 days. There will be players carrying niggles that if this was a World Cup semi-final or a World Cup quarter-final, would be there and they would play. That's just the nature of the beast.
Yep.
That doesn't necessarily mean players don't want to play for their country. Just the importance of the game, whether people like it or not, factually, the importance of the game will have a bearing on a player who is maybe out injured for a week, 8-10 days.
Look, Declan Rice and Bukayo Saka both come off in their last game for Arsenal. And Declan went into it, I think, with a broken toe.
Yeah.
Bukayo Saka's had some niggles recently. He's had a few little problems. So again, you fully understand they're going to be out the squad, Shaban. They are.
Guys, fantastic.
That was unbelievable.
Unbelievably.
Tell you what a morning you're having. 7:27. Stay with us.
talkSPORT Breakfast, waking you up Monday to Friday morning from 6 a.m. on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.